Hello, it's me, and just in time for Easter or Passover or whatever holiday you're celebrating, I'm going to demonstrate this Meffert's golden egg, which in my case is not golden, it's actually red. But there's different kinds of colors that you can get with that. I apologize for my voice. I'm still recovering from a not so nice illness, but hopefully I can plod my way through it. So this is an interesting puzzle. Moves in very interesting ways, but basically what this is this is a skewb. This is exactly, well, not exactly, but very much like this over here. This skewb puzzle over here moves really the same way. Now this is actually an appropriate tutorial on the heels of the last tutorial where we talked a little bit more in detail of how to deal with 3x3 modifications, which acted exactly like 3x3 supercubes. And to demonstrate, I actually used the 3x3 supercube to show how to work your way through a mod. Well, this is actually a mod too. This is a modification of a skewb. It's really exactly the same mechanism. But because it's not a modification of a 3x3, it's a modification of a skewb, it actually functions not as a supercube, but as a superskewb. Because the main difference is that orientation has meaning in this the way it didn't have as much meaning in this. So what I'm going to do is similarly, I'm going to use this skewb in order to demonstrate how to work your way through a superskewb, because that orientation is going to have meaning. So what do I mean by that? Well, when dealing with this puzzle, if you recall, if you've seen the tutorial on the skewb and the skewb perspective series, something that stood out is that the main algorithm, the one algorithm you needed to know with this, which is also the one that you're going to need to know with this, is just what I'll call the up, up, down, down algorithm, where it's sort of a crisscross, where you bring this to here, and then these two flip. Down, down, up, up, and that basically flipped these two got flipped, this stayed the same, this stayed the same. That was a set of 1, a set of 2, down, down, up, up. We'll bring this back the way it was, but we just flipped these guys around. Now, what you don't realize with this particular algorithm is that, yeah, it flipped this down and it flipped these two and it flipped these two. What it actually did is it also rotated this 180 degrees. But you didn't really care because this is symmetric and it's one color. And because of that, the fact that these two actually rotated 180 degrees has absolutely no significance because you can't really tell the difference. When you deal with a superskewb, as we demonstrated with supercubes, basically the orientation does mean something, either because maybe there'll be like a yellow dot over here and a purple dot over here, who knows, or because the shape is different, which means the fact that this got rotated 180 degrees has meaning it's not going to look like it's inappropriately. Here's what I mean by that. First thing to do with this is try to correlate these sides with what happened with these sides. So what you're going to have is you're going to have center followed by 4 corners. So what are the centers and what are the 4 corners? Well, when you look at it, the way it moves as it bisects down here and across here, it becomes apparent that this is a center, these tops and bottoms are centers, and these big areas here are centers too. You've got 2 that have the Meffert's logo on it, and then you've got 2 that are basically bare. That's going to be important because this can help orient us in terms of what's upside down and what's right side up. So holding it here, doing that down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up, and then do it again. These got flipped, down, down, up, up. Doing that algorithm, we're going to really end up doing the same thing. So if I hold it over here and this is the center, I can do the same down, down, up, up, but watch what's going to happen. I expect that when I get it back, all these are going to be the same. These corners, these are going to be the corners here. These little triangles correspond to these triangles. I'm going to expect that these, just like this, are going to be exactly the same. But I know that there's going to be some potential rotation. If I rotate this, it's not going to look right, because this is not exactly the symmetric from the top here to the bottom here. If I rotate this, you wouldn't know the difference. So here's what I mean. Holding it over here with this is the center, these are the corners, just like this is the center, and these are the corners. Let's see what happens. Down, down, up, up. So it flip-flopped these centers here, keeping this the same. So we'll do it again. Down, down, up, up. And lo and behold, it looks like it kind of should be like this. It looks like the centers are placed appropriately, but look what happened. These Meffert's logos are now upside down. So this is upside down. You can tell because when this is rotated, it kind of has overhanging edges over here. Hopefully you can see that. What's more, this was turned upside down, so we see a hidden process within that algorithm that we didn't know from here because it was not a superskewb. We see that after you do that algorithm, this flips down and down, so these flip and then they flip back when you do the down, down, up, up twice, but this also rotates 180 degrees, as do these two. This one stayed the same, and the one back here stayed the same too. So that lends a little bit extra of a challenge when solving this, where you can see this configuration is the same as this. Only here you can't tell these are flipped, but here you can. Armed with this information, we can now utilize that to decide how to solve this. In order to put this back, what I'm going to want to do is do another down, down, up, up twice. The first time we'll flip these. The second time we'll flip it back. And the prediction is these two will once again rotate because the first one will flip these two. Second one will flip them back, but they're going to be rotated back by 180 degrees. So down, down, up, up, and again, down, down, up, up. So the end result is it had exactly that same effect. These are now put back in. The corners are out, but don't worry, that's what we expected over here. So what does that mean in terms of solving? What that means is instead of doing a set of 2 down, down, up, ups like we did with this, in order to completely get us back to the position where we started, I have to do a set of 4. 2 down, down, up, ups will switch this and then switch it back. And it'll look exactly the same. 4 sets of down, down, up, ups will switch it back, but it'll be rotated, switch it back again, it'll bring it back in the same position. So that's how I translate it into this particular puzzle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do a tandem solve like I did last time to demonstrate the difference. Now, it would be better, I guess, if I had a superskewb to compare with this like I had a supercube. I don't, but I think you can get the picture. It's a pretty simple mechanism, and I think we can solve it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and scramble this, and I'm going to apply the same algorithms to here as we did to here. So I'm just going to show you some of the motion of this puzzle. It seems kind of rickety at first when you buy it, but you know, it moves pretty well. I'm actually fairly satisfied with it. And it doesn't take too much before you get it fairly well scrambled. And because it's a superskewb and because it's a mod, it shapeshifts. So it's a shape-shifting skewb. We haven't seen anything like that, so it makes it fairly unique. And again, it's a question of perspective. Like so many of these mods, perspective is key. So this looks pretty good. So this is my scrambled egg, so to speak. Just bear in mind, center, corner, 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 center, corner, 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 corner. Let's go ahead and scramble this too, so that we can use this and compare and contrast how to deal with the mod superskewb compared to just a normal skewb. Scramble, scramble. I think we're okay. Okay, so the first step that I do to get this is I pick a side and I put the corners in. Now to put the corners in, this is fairly easy because I have different colors to guide me. So here's a green. I'm just going to put any green in. I'm not worried about any of the other centers here. So let's just put any green in, so I have this here. So this lines up nicely, silver and blue. So I'm going to want to put the other green and purple rather over here. So where's the other green and purple? It's right here. So let's see how and if we can put this in position. So this comes in pretty nicely, no problems. So I'm going to want to put the other green and yellow here. Now I've already gone through a tutorial with this, so I'm just doing this fairly quickly. And just to refresh your memory, this is where I want it to be, but I want it to rotate. To get this to rotate, what I would do is I want this green to be where this pink is. So I want this to be something of a clockwise rotation. What I would do is I would move it away from the side, and if I want this to rotate clockwise, I'm going to do a down, down, up, up from this perspective with this center, and I'm going to make sure that I start off with a clockwise rotation. In this case, it's going to be here. So just like a fractile, if I move the entire chunk, a small component will move in the same direction. So down, down, up, up. The overall effect is this rotated, and now I can move this in, so that's where it needs to be. Again, we'll try this one here. I want this to rotate, holding it here. I want this green to be where this pink is, which means I basically want a counterclockwise rotation. So let's move this out of the way, and I have to move it counterclockwise in conjunction with this. So this is counterclockwise. When I say counterclockwise, I'm going to do down, down, up, up, starting with a counterclockwise move. In this case, right. Right is counterclockwise, left is clockwise. I want this to rotate counterclockwise, so that's where I'm going to start. Down, down, up, up, and then I can move it in. Now the reason why I'm going through this is these very simple steps are going to be very important when translating it to this guy. So let's translate it to this guy and get our first side. What I like to do is the first side that I like to start off with is one of these rounded tops or bottoms of the egg. In this case, let's try the bottom egg, and the reason that I'm going to do that is it's easier to find which corner comes in, because this is a larger center, and because that it has more deep overhanging edges. These overhanging edges are going to correlate with corners that also have very wide overhanging edges. Okay, so let's pick it up with, we have one in here. Let's find another one that can be put in. So here's, well, how about, I think any one of these will do. Now, the main difference here as well is that here we had specificity of the corners based on color. Here that specificity is based on shape, but you can put in multiple corners in multiple areas, so you don't have to fish around quite as much. Like these two can probably be just fine and be interchangeable, so we've got that working for us. So let's try it with, let's try it with this. We'd like to rotate this piece so that this edge is lined up with this, so we want to rotate this counterclockwise. So let's move this out from this center, bring it up to here, and then do our counterclockwise rotation. So with this, if it's counterclockwise that we want to start off with, it's going to be the right that we're going to be doing. So down, down, up, up, and then as you can see, you can move it in and it fits in just fine. Same concept, absolutely no difference. Just remember where your sides are. Again, I went through this, I'm going through this kind of quickly. I can refer you back to my skew perspective tutorial on that. What about this? Well, let's keep this here. This one actually has a pretty big overhanging edge, so let me put this one in place. We're going to want to rotate this so that this bottom matches this over here, which means we're going to want to do a counterclockwise rotation. So let's bring this up away from that center to here. And for counterclockwise rotation, we're going to start off with the right down. So it's going to be down, down, up, up. So that got rotated, and as you can see, you can bring it in, and it's just fine. So this is in, and this is in. Now we just have this. Do we like this? Sure, why not? It's got a nice overhanging edge. This guy has to rotate counterclockwise for this bottom to be over here. So let's move this out of the center, bring it up here. And what did I say? Counterclockwise. So if it's counterclockwise, moving with this perspective of the center, it's going to be right. So down, down, up, up. I actually didn't even have to move it up. You can see that it's already in. So we actually have our first side. So I hope you caught that. This here is equivalent to this. So what's our next step?